Hey everybody, thank you guys so much for joining me. I wanted to get something off my chest. So it is cold as hell. It's the night of January 26th, really the early morning of January 27th, 2026. The world is crazy, and I'll leave it there. That being said, this is going to be a video about me. So I have kind of talked about this in other videos, but I just want to mention things here really quickly. I think I talked about this in the video where I was talking about Megan Trainor and GLP-1s and all that stuff. I'm not sure, but I know I've talked about it where I stated this. Medications are not preferred by me. I'm someone that in general, I would rather let my body take care of itself or me take care of things rather than turning to medications if possible. But some things I will take medications for. I'm not completely against medications. It's just that I think in general, they should be reserved as a last resort unless they're preventative. Okay, that's different. But if they're for treatment, I feel like they should be a last resort if there are natural ways to fix things. Okay. Now, where this applies right now is let's talk about weight loss medications. I had a chit chat with a friend of mine, and she had asked me about GLP-1s. And, because I talked to her about like my struggles with my weight loss journey, and she also follows my channel. And I'm going to be honest about something. So I have things coming later this spring and coming up in my life. And I would really like to be down to the 270s by then. Now, mind you, in the past, I'm sorry, I'm fighting back a cough right now. Hold on, let me just do it. Sorry. Anyway, in the past, what do you call it? Year plus approximately, I have been in the same weight range, which is the very late 290s into the early 300s. Today it was 297.6 is my weight. Lowest weight thus far has been 295.2 since I've been on this particular journey. Lowest adult weight ever was 209.2 that I'm aware of. And that was a good decade ago. Okay, a little more than a decade ago because it was in late 2015. Anyway, coming from weighing over 300 pounds. But anyway, that I'm talking in both cases. This particular journey started out at, we're just going to say 338. It was also 342, but we'll say 338. And from that old weight loss journey, it was anywhere from 301.6 to 315.8, depending on what you want to judge, because I've gone into that story. If you go to one of my earliest videos from 2024, right? Yes, from 2024, I go into my weight loss history. I don't care to do it here. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted. My point is that what I've done mostly is just maintain. And even though that's a blessing in and of itself, that's a beautiful thing because I could have been gaining weight all this time. I could have also been losing weight all this time. Where's the loss? We're like, I should have some badass before and afters, and I don't. And I'm not happy here. Like, I'm almost 300 pounds, the other day I had some ramen noodles, and amazingly, I didn't jump up in weight like I typically would, right? And hold on one second. I'm so sorry. I'm recovering from a cold, and it's cold, and that's making me cough. Like both, the combination of both are making me cough, so forgive me. Anyway, and I didn't even have the good sense to bring water over here with me. But my point is that like I thought for sure I was going to be in the 300s, and praise God that I'm not, but I'm so close, and I'm tired of being here, and I don't have to be here. And so here's the thing. If I'm going to give myself until June 1st to get down to 279.9, and this video will be my record, or lower, but 279.9. If I can't do it by then I do need to start doing my research on how to get on a GLP-1 or some other weight loss medication. But I need help. At that point, I can genuinely say I need help. I need help. If I can't do it, like if you can do it on your own, do it on your own. And that's what I'm trying to do. But if I can't break into the 270s by June 1st, or around June 1st, like June 2nd, I ain't gonna be mad at it. I ain't gonna say, oops, missed my deadline. No, but somewhere in that range, okay, I can't break into the 279s by then I need help, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. My body has changed. I'm not in my early 30s anymore. You know, I am just like having a hard time controlling my food and my food noise. So I'm giving myself until then. That's my deadline, about June 1st, and I will give myself maybe like a week's grace period, but June 1st pretty much. So, you know, between June 1st, June 8th, I need to be down to 279.9, or else I need to get medical intervention, because this is ridiculous. I've had enough. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of all of it. I'm not just like trying to be cruel about myself, but I'm tired. You know what I mean? I'm tired of being here. I'm miserable here. You know, I feel like I can't fully enjoy my body. I feel like, you know, I hope my friend doesn't mind me mentioning this, but, you know, I was kind of venting to her about how I feel like I get treated in society, and I feel like I get ignored. I'm not going to mention anything that she said. That's her story to tell, whatever. But like for myself, I feel like I get ignored, and I'm tired of it. I feel like I never get fucking picked, and I'm tired of it. Like I said, I'm a pick me in the sense that I'm like, fuck, pick me. And I never get fucking picked. You know what I mean? And I know why I'm not getting picked. I know what it is, because when I was thinner, not only was I prettier, and I was fucking prettier, but I was getting picked. Whether I wanted to get picked or not, I was getting picked. You get what I'm saying? So I know what it is, you know? So like right now, it's bitter cold in Texas right now and everything. But when this weather, like I maybe even later today, as in Tuesday, the 27th, January 27th, I will like go grocery shopping and stuff and pick some healthier choices. And I want to get this weight off. Like I said, I'm tired of it. I've had it up to here. You know, I'm just over it. So, you know, no shade if you need medical intervention to lose weight. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. So there's somebody who I used to follow. Every once in a while I'll check in on her, but I haven't like really followed her in a long time. Her videos don't really come up for me anymore. I have to kind of go looking for her and stuff, whatever. But she's a cool chick, and I'm not like going to be too descriptive about her, but she's someone who she lost a lot of weight. As someone who was around my size, she still looked really good, because the way her body carried the weight, she's taller than me, and she just, you know, the way her body portioned that weight, she looked really good even when she was heavier, you know. But I saw her struggle with her weight kind of like with me, except she went even harder than I did, you know, but she had binge eating disorder, which I've also struggled with. But these days, it's not that bad. Every once in a while, I'll get into a binge, but it's nothing like it used to be. So it's definitely way more under control compared to what it used to be. But all that being said, but I do have my moments. So, you know, don't let me fool you. I'm not trying to fool you. But about her is that I kept wondering why she wouldn't get weight loss surgery, because people close to her, and I'll leave it there, had it. And so I'm like, you know what? I've seen this girl try so hard and she kept falling on her face. And I'm like, if anybody should get weight loss surgery, you know, as far as someone who didn't obviously medically absolutely need it, like on 600 Pound Life, just someone who was like really overweight, but not like, you know, to the point of like a disability, you know, but, you know, again, like her, I thought to myself, she should get it, you know, but I never told her that. I was just thinking it in my head, like, you know, if anybody should get it, she should get it, because I saw her like continuously struggle and fight with her weight for years, right? And again, she looked good, like, you know, she looked good, but she wanted to be a smaller person. And it's not just vanity, it's also your health. It does interfere with a lot of stuff, you know. I'm going to vent about something in a moment that has to do with my fertility journey and stuff or whatever. I'm going to talk about that in a moment, but just getting this a little bit off my chest. She finally did get weight loss surgery, and she finally did lose the weight. And I'm very happy for her and proud of her. And again, I never said anything to her about it, you know, but I did look at her at a certain point and just think to myself, and I'm not someone who I would normally impose those thoughts of like, oh, they should get weight loss surgery. But seeing how much she struggled to get her weight under control, I did think that of her. She's one of the few people I thought that of, because I was like so wrapped into her journey and, you know, following her and stuff at one point. And so, you know, I did think to myself, like, okay, girl, you know, after years and years and years of following her and seeing her struggle the way that she did, and yeah, she lost some weight, but she was like not where she wanted to be. She was like around the 300s, I think. And by the time she got the surgery and stuff, whatever, and it was a real struggle for her. You know, maybe nowadays she would have gotten on a GLP-1 instead. You know, I'm noticing a lot of people just do GLP-1s who would have probably gotten the surgery a few years ago, which is what she did, got the surgery, you know. But anyway, talking about my fertility journey. Now, mind you, if you've been following me, you know, I haven't, you know, with a dude in over a year, okay? And the last one was my baby daddy, okay? And so, you know, that's one obvious thing as to why I am not pregnant and wouldn't be having any kids and everything. But when, like, right after having my daughter, 7.5-ish, or almost, not quite 7.5, but over 7 years ago, right after having her, I thought to myself, oh, I want another baby. Like, I don't know how to explain that feeling, but a lot of us, when we have a baby, we think to ourselves, I want another one. And at some point I did want to give her a sibling, but knowing the health, the health problems that I had, when I was pregnant with her, I had preeclampsia. That was really the main thing I had, was preeclampsia. Luckily, I did not have gestational diabetes or anything, but I had preeclampsia, and it got pretty scary in terms of the numbers, and not in terms of how I felt, but the numbers, you know, were scary, which I've talked about in previous videos. But anyway, my top number with the electronic cuff was like 220. Okay, for my blood pressure. And then with the manual blood pressure cuff, it went down to like 190, which is more accurate. But either way, those were scary numbers, like, you know. And so they put me on magnesium sulfate, and I was very blessed to have had a good birth experience for the most part. Like, um very few hiccups, if you will, and I was just so blessed through that journey. And when I think about women, I have to stop crying in videos. But when I think about women who have struggled, being mistreated during their pregnancy and delivery journeys, it breaks my heart and it scares me so bad. And I'm like, what if that happened to me? Like, and especially at this point where I would be that like really high risk, as a like 40+ year old woman. It's not that I can't get pregnant. I could get pregnant as far as I know. I get a period every month and stuff, and you can get pregnant in your 40s. Some people even in their 50s. Yes, it becomes harder, but it can happen, right? If I were having like regular unprotected sex. And when I was with my previous partner, we went out of our way to avoid pregnancy. We did have some slip ups, but if I had to count the slip ups, I would say it was less than 20 for someone who I was having regular intimacy with, which it says a lot. I mean, I don't mean that to be weird, but you know what I mean? Like when you're getting down on a regular basis and you only slip up like 20 times or less, more like less than 20, and over the course of several years, and I think that's pretty good. I mean, that's my guesstimate. I'm not 100%, but he knew how I felt about not wanting to get pregnant until I lost weight. And now with everything I'm hearing about Black women's mortality, giving birth, it scares the dog shit out of me. So I have kind of given up on the idea, between the fact that I'm morbidly obese now, I'm 43, I'm single, I haven't had sex in over a year, like doing a countdown. I've basically like accepted, you know what? One and done. I remember somebody said that to me at one point about being one and done. And I was like, oh, hell no, I ain't one and done. I think I'm one and done. I used to fantasize, like, if I met the right guy for me, that maybe I would like, want to have a baby with him to kind of like connect us a bit, like share DNA in one person kind of thing. But if that happens, I'll consider it to be kind of a miracle, because I'm obviously going to be significantly older than where I am right now, especially in maternal years. Like if I got pregnant, let's say a year or two from now, in maternal years as a 43-year-old to 45-year-old, that's a really big deal. Like at 43, I'm still considered to be fairly reasonable to have a natural pregnancy without any assistance. Yes, it's much lower than it was if I were, say, 38, 39, but it still exists, right? But at like 45 and up, they tell you, yeah, but at the same time, like, you're unlikely to get pregnant naturally and to carry the baby to full term naturally. That's what they tell you. Okay. But at the same time, they will tell you to stay on birth control until you go through menopause. So there's that too, so it's weird. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's it's weird, but that's what they tell you. I've like looked all this stuff up way before I necessarily needed to look it up. I was looking it up. So that's why I'm like kind of hip to how they treat women, with our fertility and stuff. But yeah, I've pretty much like accepted that I'm like about one and done and stuff, and it's like, okay, it's, she's my blessing. I'm grateful for her every single day of my life. She gives my life meaning. I kind of wanted to do a video. I guess I'll get this off my chest in this video since I'm talking about it. If you are a child-free woman, and especially child-free woman that you're waiting for your day that you can have your baby and stuff, I understand, because I was there at like 34 and before and stuff, whatever. As a woman with PCOS who had, prior to meeting my ex, who had very, like, didn't have a ton of sex and everything. I mean, I'm just being honest, whatever. Then, like, I get it. In my case, I'm saying, like, those were my circumstances. And I get it about, like, wondering, is it ever going to happen for you and all that. And, I genuinely hope that any woman who goes into this with the intention of being a good parent gets the baby, gets to be a mom and everything. That being said, my advice is enjoy your child-free life. Like I said, I will never regret my daughter, and not just because it's like, oh, it's the right thing to say, and oh my gosh, like, no, not just that. She was a prayer answered for me, and she was a prayer come true for me. Like, I cannot ask for a better person to have come in my life than my daughter. So I will never in a million years, like, not want to be her mother. That's just where I stand. But there are things that you go through as a parent that are hard. With or without a partner, if you have a good partner, that definitely makes things better. But I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think most of us get good partners. That sounds really bad. But I think, if we're lucky, we get an okay partner. But I don't think most of us get great ones, from what I can tell. And there are things, I don't begrudge a woman to not have children. I'm not one of those weird mothers that I'm trying to force motherhood on anybody. But that being said, like, I do have a little bit of an envy towards child-free women in the sense of how free you are and not being tied to certain people you may not want to be tied to. And that's not me trying to knock my baby's father. That's just, like, period, having to deal with certain people you don't want to deal with, and so on and so forth, or at least feeling emotionally obligated to deal with certain people, etc. You can't just do whatever in the hell you want to do when you are a mother. And that's just what it is. I mean, in general, unless you walk away from motherhood. But as a, active, full custodial parent, you are limited in certain regards, And so that, I mean, I tell people who are child-free, enjoy it. If you really want a baby, I hope you get that baby and take very good care of that baby, but enjoy it. Because once you become a parent, you can't unbecome a parent, once that baby comes out, and even like, and what I mean by that sounds so terrible, but what I mean is, even if heaven forbid, your life doesn't follow the natural order and you become a grieving parent, if you know what I mean, if you have a heart, then it's always going to be missing a piece of it. If you lost that child, like, you are forever touched by that child. And so before you have that, enjoy what you have and live your life. That's what I would tell a child-free woman, and what I do tell child-free women, So I kind of had wanted to do that as a separate video, but since I'm here and I haven't recorded a video in like I would say over a week or so, then yeah. By the way, so sorry. Again, like I said, I have a cold that I'm recovering from. But okay, I did a video. As you can tell, I'm not wearing a filter, right? Um, okay. I did a video where well, it was a YouTube short where it shows me like giving cheers or something, like the AI version of me and stuff, you know. They take my picture and then they do an AI version of me giving cheers and stuff, whatever. Well, on that note, I said that I was going to take a break from AI, right? And I meant that. However, these are videos that were already on my phone that I had just never posted. And I like to post shorts. In case you guys are ever wondering, I'm going to be honest about something. I get way more views on average posting a short than I do posting regular video. And it works for me to get as many views as I can. So I will post a short, and the easiest shorts for me to, like, you know, put out there is one of my old AI clips or something, you know, whatever. It's easier for me to post a short than for me to like think of something clever to say and do a video or something, because I've thought about that too, like maybe like giving inspirational, motivational, or whatever, like little clips or something for shorts. And I may move in that direction since I'm trying to take a break from filters. But going back to the whole filtered conversation is that if you see any new videos and they are filtered, they're not after I decided to take a break. Okay, hope that makes sense. So anyway, I think I've talked enough for now. So my deadline to lose from today's weight, 18 pounds, is June 1st. And if I don't pull this shit off by June 1st, then I genuinely want to look for medical intervention, because I know that I need help at that point, because this is ridiculous for me to be carrying this maintenance bullshit into a new year when I have over 100 pounds I need to lose. This is wild. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care and good luck with your goals. Bye.